listening to the Dr. No Show on WHIT Radio.org.
How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be having a show on the golden age of radio, one of the greatest times in American history. This was the time when radio was at its peak. Everybody who had money had a radio because it was just the main source of entertainment back then. This was around the 1930s to 40s, back when people weren't as people were poor back then. The economy was going down around the 1940s. But if people had money, they had to have a radio. So people here with me today that are going to be talking about the golden age of radio are my friends, Caleb Casilla.
What's up?
Tristan Ventura.
Hello.
Aaron Reyes.
Present.
And Ned Beltran.
I hate shorts.
You said that already.
Yep, we do. And I'm your host, Tyler Law. All right, so we're going to start off with some of the first broadcasts. Caleb.
Caleb's bad.
Nice, Caleb.
So, after the radio, the radio was invented. Let's start
Early
with that.
1900s, actually.
Early 1900s. There was just a bunch of people that worked on the radio. It became more famous. It was expensive back then, but...
Like a couple $1,000s, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a cheap car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty expensive, actually.
How expensive?
But it was just one of those things that everybody had to have.
Expensive.
And if you didn't
Not
have
really.
it...
Like
it wasn't
toilets.
like a house.
Toilets were very expensive also.
Yes.
That is
So were
toilets
were
vacuum
made by
cleaners
Thomas
and cars.
Anyway,
Okay.
And TVs weren't around yet.
When I talk about the one of the first radio broadcasts, it was actually in 1906
What was
on
it?
Christmas Eve, and
What was the message?
what was the
I'm
message?
getting to it.
Stop
Wait,
what was
interrupting
Caleb's
us,
time to
Tristan.
shine?
What was the
Tell us,
guy's name?
Caleb.
Reginald Fessenden,
What?
and
That was the man's name.
That's
it was the first published reference to a radio broadcast.
Oh.
He was actually a vice president of Westing School, and it was a broadcast of a lecture that was given at the White House.
Whoa.
Well,
Oh,
so
that's
kinda-
pretty cool.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What did it say?
speech time.
Like-
It was just a lecture.
Hey, guys.
Oh,
All right.
Hey.
So from the first broadcast, what were some of the more popular shows that were around back then? A lot of them, they had comedies, musicals, live. Most of the performances were live
Don't forget the
because.
soap operas.
Thank
I
you,
don't
Aaron.
think they had soap operas.
But
Well,
no,
they
they
had
had
the
just
dramas.
dramas and stuff.
Okay.
But back then they couldn't pre-record it and send it out. Everything had to be done live and sent right out.
So what if
Do
they
it
screwed
live.
up? What if they screwed up? What if someone tripped?
Well,
Would they just
just
kill the whole
they
show?
just had to improvise it off and work it out. So they'd all be they'd have actors around on a stage and it was funny how they'd use different sound effects and stuff to make it sound like they're walking around.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I saw
Yeah.
a video on it.
And one of the inventions back then that made radio really big was the microphone, the RCA 44BX microphones that were two-faced, so people could face each other and
hate
make
that
expressions and
supervillain.
stuff. And then there was also dead areas on the microphone, so they can talk over there to make it sound like they're walking away or something.
Right.
So it's just really good to help make radio seem more entertaining to the people watching.
Do you know any specific programs that were very popular?
Well, most of the programs were either made up, but a lot of them were actually based off newspaper comic strips. They had Blondie, The Gumps, Little Orphan Annie, Red Ryder, and Popeye the Sailor Man.
Oh, that's cool.
Old comic
Spinach.
strips.
I just have some random
That was
program names.
90s Cartoon Network, yo. Alright, I'm sorry, my bad.
You weren't even born in the 90s. You were you're 97. You're a 2000 kid.
Yeah,
no,
we are.
I'm a 90s.
You're not a 90s
You're
kid.
not
We're not
old
in the
enough to be a
2000s
90s
yet. We're
kid.
in the 1930s.
Okay, 30s.
I'm a 30s
Thank you,
kid.
Aaron.
So how about this program?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
go.
I don't even know these, but the A and P Gypsies, Champion Spark Plug Hour, the Clickod Club Eskimos, the Sylvians Foresters.
It's funny because most of the TV shows, most of the radio shows back then were named after since they couldn't have commercials really, because they couldn't pre-record it and put it out, they would name the shows after the sponsors. So you said the first one was AP something. That was
That's
probably the
clever.
sponsor.
Probably, yeah,
So
that makes sense.
Nowadays,
Do I see something named biscuit on your paper?
Yes, King Biscuit time.
King Biscuit.
Biscuit.
Also,
Had a
That's
biscuit.
cool.
It was probably like the King Biscuit was.
there was the Health and Happiness radio show.
Yeah,
Also.
it's probably
Planters
like Health
what?
and Happiness like sponsors it.
What
Right.
the planters? What does that say?
The Planters Pickers.
Oh,
So I guess that was a show that was
About
named
farming.
after
Farming.
a farm. Who sponsored them? I guess. Must have been.
I thought it was like planters peanuts.
All right. So who's gonna talk about? Ned, you're gonna talk about the importance of radio in our history.
Radio was
Talk about the Titanic.
So after the Titanic
What happened?
what?
catastrophe in
What happened?
1912
What happened?
You mean like the movie?
Someone
No,
stopped
the real event.
They made a
Tyler.
ship based off the movie.
The real event. Alright, you guys done?
They reenacting the
We're
movie.
not done yet. All right.
Not done yet?
Wait.
Alright.
All right, now I'm done.
Continue and then end it.
What?
No, we're
Did
good.
you know they
Okay,
wrote?
Nate, what are you
All right,
talking
history.
about?
You know they
What about
just-
the Titanic? What happened with the Titanic?
Yeah,
Okay,
why was
so-
radio important?
After the catastrophe in 1912, the ham radio operators, they were really important.
Wait. Ham?
Ham.
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 What is a ham radio
Or-
reporter?
That's
or
not
nicknamed
kosher.
amateur
They
radios.
created
Oh, okay,
their
all
own
right,
radio.
alright.
Ham
Yeah.
radio is, let me intervene.
Very
Mr.
clever.
P
Mr.
in the
P.
board.
Ham radio is basically amateur radio, and people, millions of people are using it worldwide. It has an incredible signal, and basically any amateur can do a radio show or,
I'm now going to buy ham.
you know, communicate that way.
That's cool.
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
I've
P.
actually seen a couple of ham radios. They're really cool. They're just like
Yep.
crazy.
And it was really important during World War One as
Why?
it was vital for air and naval operations.
Why?
Need that airstrike.
Tristan asking the hard questions.
Call in the airstrike.
Putting him on the spot.
Okay, World
Why?
War One brought about major developments in radio, suspending the Morse code of the wireless telegraph with the vocal communication of the wireless telephone through advancements in vacuum tube technology and the introduction of the transceiver. And okay, that's cool.
What?
Alright.
All right.
That's
Okay.
cool.
And the first radio news program was broadcast in August 31st, 1920 on the station 8MK in Detroit, Michigan, which was named the Detroit News. And the first regular entertainment programs were in 1922. There were a variety of them. First was it was 1 million sets in use. It was called this
1
radio
million?
suite. What?
Wait, did
1 million?
you said there were a variety of different what?
Shows.
Like
Yeah,
what?
like
What kind of different
comedies,
genres?
music,
Comedies,
horror,
yada, yada.
dramas, horror.
They even had a what's it called? What's his name? Sherlock Holmes. They had a Sherlock Holmes TV show, radio
I
show.
would listen to that.
It's pretty cool.
Elementary.
No.
Elementary. my dear
Elementary.
Watson.
He never said that in the books.
He never said that in the books.
What?
They had all types
Wait,
of shows.
They
Let
wrote a
me-
Sherlock Holmes book off
Yeah.
the movies.
Yeah.
No, the other way around.
They had
No,
Jack Benny show. They had comedy shows. They had Fibber McGee and Molly. They had
Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello. Yeah, that was very popular on
Easy,
radio.
Abbott.
Amos and Andy.
And Red Skelton,
Hmm.
George Burns and Gracie Allen. A lot of these went on to TV, so
Yeah.
they had their own TV series.
So the
Um,
golden age of radio was really like the startup of, really inspired the start of like TV shows and
So
entertainment
intense.
on TV. So without radio, I mean, where would we be?
I mean, basically,
So intense.
people like that was their lives. Like that's how they knew about the world. Cause like now we could just watch TV and go on our phones for news, but like they had to gather around the radio to listen to news.
All statistics showed like 8 out of 10 people either had a radio or listened to it daily. So I mean, that was like their lives. They'd run home from school, listen to the radio, watch their favorite TV shows. Anybody ever seen a Christmas Story, the movie?
Yes.
With Red
Yeah.
Ryder, BB Gun, and
Yes, I love that
He's watching
movie.
Little Orphan
I
Annie.
loved that movie.
That's when he gets the message from Little Orphan Annie. Drink your
It's
Ovaltine.
buy more cereal.
That's what they did back then. That's how they advertised. They'd find like interesting ways instead of using commercials.
Clever.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
if it's clever, like it's not a stupid commercial. It makes me want to buy
Yeah.
it.
Like I hate commercials sometimes, but like if they give you like,
I like the funny
okay,
commercials,
now,
but
yeah.
Funny commercials.
like
But
okay,
they were
work
like,
for it.
send in
and-
the box tops, you get this thing, then we're gonna give you the code, and then you're gonna write down the code, and then you're gonna transmute it and drink your Ovaltine.
Transmute it.
Transmit it, whatever.
they're
I'm making up-
coding.
Making up words.
I read that Metropolitan Radio broadcasts of classical music were very popular.
Derp.
Derp for that.
That's a classic.
Yeah, one of the most famous conductors. He conducted on the NBC Symphony Orchestra, like radio network. His name was Arturo Toscanini.
Toscanini.
I like that.
I've
name.
heard of
And he was Italian. He was one of the most celebrated radio conductors. Like,
That was the most
No.
one of the most popular shows. Guys, did anybody do any research on Orson Welles and War of the Worlds? Is anybody?
Oh, I actually heard of that. I
Oh,
remember
wait,
that.
wait.
We did that
Yeah,
In current events,
current
Mr.
events.
Scribble
Alright.
made us
that-
listen to
we
it.
listened to it. That was the
It was
coolest
really, really
thing
cool.
on
It's like
radio.
people actually thought there was
It
an
was,
alien
um,
invasion.
It was basically like he decided to make like an act on the radio.
Yeah, and
where
in the
like,
beginning of the broadcast, he was like, "Don't worry, guys, this is just a game. It's not for real."
but for the people that missed that,
Yeah, they're like, "Oh God, we're
it's like
being
a news
attacked."
report. Attention, people of the United States. We just come to our attention that we are under attack by aliens. It's like it was so
that's-
cool.
and it was
It
Metallic
like
sounded so
Yeah.
realistic.
It sounded extremely realistic because
it was like
now
that
we're
was
gonna go
basically
to
a
this
cool,
good
thing.
yeah.
actor, like in general. Like,
People will freak
acted
out
it
and try
off
to leave.
perfectly.
It was just
So
amazing.
realistic, in fact, that two people
So much stuff.
committed suicide over it.
Two
Ooh,
that
people
is-
killed
Yeah.
themselves over
That's
Oh.
ridiculous.
That's sad.
it. Aw.
Damn, that's a really bold
Tear.
move.
So,
Okay.
Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where Mr. Scribble
What
shows
what is
up.
it
I
called
have-
again?
War
I
of
had
the Worlds.
seconds.
Yeah.
War of the
War of
Worlds.
They
the
made a movie out
Yeah,
of
the
it.
new movie. It was filmed
Oh,
in
it's their
Bayonne.
Bayonne.
Oh, that's cool.
It was right near my house too.
Really? Are you
Yeah.
serious? I didn't
As the
see it.
Bayonne Bridge
So
falls over.
the new Dark Knight is being filmed in
I
Newark.
want to see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
My brother.
I can
My
go
dad
watch
works
the
in
Dark
Newark.
Knight.
That's cool.
Anyway, about the Golden Age.
I wonder
of
if
Radio.
Batman started off
In-
as a
in
radio
Hoboken,
show.
there
I
was,
think
like-
probably did.
I think
That'd be
that
cool.
Batman
I
had a radio
think.
show.
Yeah, Wayne Enterprises has their own
In
radio
Hoboken,
station.
there was like a little warehouse that like I was walking in Hoboken, and there was a warehouse, and painted on it was Gotham City.
Oh wow.
So they must have been
That's so
filming.
cool.
They
Painted on.
probably
I have
had
a picture of it.
radio
Yeah.
show for Batman. I know they had one for Superman.
I know I've heard like clips from radio shows for superheroes. I'm just not. I never watched the entire thing. It's funny, just like the way they used to do it back then. It's just like the way that they portrayed the stories with voices. Like you could just imagine the pictures in your head. It was just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, my
Right.
brother said that he saw Christian Bale, or I mean maybe it was his stunt double, because like they were
Still
doing
pretty
stunts.
cool.
Christian
Yeah,
Bale.
he saw Batman. He saw Batman.
I saw
Watching
the
Batman.
Batman. So yeah, after the Golden Age Radio, it was going bigger. It was getting bigger and bigger, and then it just eventually started to die off because of TVs, and then eventually the inevitable internet.
Well,
Interwebs.
why
Do
did
you know what restored radio?
Car radios?
As you said, it started dissipating. TV came on the scene in '46, I believe, but it was 1956 around there. Elvis Presley, rock and roll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rock and roll rejuvenated radio.
I say car radio.
Oh yeah. No, automobiles. They started making around the Golden Age time. They started making cars with radios inside of them, and that was a really big like.
And
Yeah, but now they're
if
in
you,
every
if you think about
car.
it, if it weren't for car radios, what would radio really be like?
Yeah, that's true.
It
I
would've
mean,
happened
like
eventually, I think.
95% of people listen to
Yeah,
radio
I
in their
know.
cars, and
I
that's
don't even
it.
have a radio. I do, but I have mostly I just use a car radio.
Yeah, I've never really
I
listened
don't
to
even
radio.
use the car radio anymore though.
I mean,
Well,
sometimes
yeah.
I'll go. It's funny because like the only other time I listen to the radio besides in the car is on the internet.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's kind of ironic.
the internet and TV are still,
Supporting the radio.
Yeah,
Can't get
so
rid of the radio. It comes back.
Have you ever seen a radio show on TV?
No.
That's funny. It's just like basically this.
Yeah, it
It's
literally
like
is.
I think it was like the Bob and Tom show or something.
That's
I watched an episode of that. They were just like sitting around just talking.
Yeah,
So if
like you
people
just
are
literally have
watching
the
us,
camera of them just
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
It's
around.
a
Yeah.
radio show.
Yeah, just
like that camera.
Imus in the morning or any of the radio shows. A lot of them are on cable TV.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Boomer and
So
Carton.
Boomer
That's
and
cool.
Carton and Mike Francesa
Yeah, it's
has a
pretty
show.
Mike
Yeah.
Francesca, yeah, I
So,
watched that.
you get an
I
idea
prefer
how
to listen.
radio is done.
Mhm.
That's my opinion.
But it's just really funny to just see people just like sitting around, just like waving their arms around, talking. It's,
They get really into it.
yeah.
That's cool though.
And
Yeah,
then-
I guess it's cool that you can actually see them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then broadcasting over the internet is just crazy.
The number one thing of any radio show is the enthusiasm and the energy that the people bring to it. So if you're excited about what you're broadcasting, you could have a show on fly fishing and people would listen to it, So it really is how much are you personally involved in the show.
If the person's like
What's
involved,
fly
then
fishing?
I believe it is.
Fly fishing is like what you go in a river, like in Montana, and you bring this long pole with you, and you just throw the line out and catch fish.
Yeah, like you
Not
stand in
off
the
ship
water,
or
right?
anything.
Oh,
You-
that's
like you don't. You're
cool.
not on the boat. Like you.
What if the
in
hook
SpongeBob they were
catches
flying
It's like
on a plane.
freestyle. It's kind of like freestyle
Yeah.
fishing.
Freestyle fishing. Yo, we got some freestyle fish up in here.
How do you be a freestyle fisher?
Well, it's like, you just go out do whatever you want.
You
It's
just
just
go
Yeah,
out.
but what if the hook catches on your foot or something?
you go to the emergency room.
Yeah, but that seems dangerous.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Yeah, it does seem dangerous actually.
Actually, I can't. It was either me or my brother. Somebody got it stuck in their ear.
What?
My cousin, I think. We
Wait,
went
how do you not
fishing.
know if it was you or
I-
not?
Let's get
God
back on
knows.
the golden age.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Fish.
So, like I said, TV, radio, and internet started coming in, started knocking it down a little bit. But then, like Mr. P said, rock and roll really brought it up because everybody just loved listening to just like
Rock on.
rock
forever.
and roll. Just it was amazing.
And they had, back then, they'd have a top 20 or a top 40 show every night.
Oh, that's
That's
And
pretty
awesome.
everybody
cool.
would listen to it and, what song's going to be number one? What song's going to be number two? You'd really get into that. And then, this song's now number one for 7 weeks in a row. And,
Yeah, that's really cool.
it really got everybody psyched up.
So, I mean, radio wasn't just for like TV shows and entertainment and comedy. It had music, information, and like Ned was saying before, it really helped with the war.
Yeah.
So, I mean, without radio, who knows where we'd be? We could be all like speaking foreign languages.
Yeah,
right now.
we
And
might not
you-
even have really like
And
TV.
you know
Yeah,
that
it's
radio,
the signal
radio.
that
when
was.
there's an emergency, the first place everybody goes to is radio.
Yeah.
Because it's immediate. You can get the information immediately. Where on TV, they have to get the pictures and everything like that, and on internet, they got to put it together. But radio, you can go right on the air and say, "It's an emergency."
Like everybody should have an emergency radio in their house somewhere, just in case for like anything. Like even I used to have like a little radio that I had in my basement just in case for anything. It would never really work that well, but I mean, it was just for emergencies.
No, but yeah, like the technology of like signals and sending them stuff like that wouldn't. Without those, really, we wouldn't have TV either. Without those
Yeah,
inventions.
That's true. And how about Tristan? How about you summarize everything up?
All right, so
What did we talk about?
What's so funny,
today,
Ned?
Tristan?
What have we talked about all day? So we started with the beginning.
right, so we
what
started
did we
with
talk about?
the beginning as radio, its development, and how it became all popular with the first broadcast, like Caleb said,
Showing
which
that
was
radios weren't little dinky, little plastic things with knobs and speakers. It was actually huge monsters sitting in your
yeah, and
living
if you
room.
open the back up, you have those big tubes.
Yeah, the giant tubes and stuff. It wasn't just wires and antenna.
It wasn't wires. It was a big,
And guys,
big tubes.
giant.
1929 to 1945 was the golden age of radio. Tyler touched on it, but why was it so popular?
Mainly because around the 40s, when the Great Depression was going on.
30s.
Sorry, my bad. When the Great Depression was going on, like everybody was just having horrible lives. Just like no one had
Well-
jobs, no one had money, and this little like
That's all they had.
yeah, the radio was just their little way to
Right.
escape.
Yes.
It was their only way to get out of this terrible story they
Like,
called
what
life.
else were
It's
they
like their
really-
happy place.
Yeah.
What else were they going to do besides listen to radio? I
They were gonna go work. No.
um,
No,
They didn't have TV.
Radio was the connection to the outside world.
Yeah.
And they were entertained, they were informed, they knew what was going on. President Roosevelt, who was the president during the Depression, would get on every Sunday night, have fireside chats, and really basically inspire people to continue on. Because, you realize almost a third of the population wasn't working. So it really was an important aspect of keeping things together. So, all right, guys. So wrap it up for me.
All right, guys. So that's been our show today. We've talked about the golden age of radio that really just like set the world for what it is now today. So this is our last show for the year. We're just gonna be signing off. This is our final goodbyes. Caleb.
See you guys later.
Tristan.
Bye, Tyler.
Aaron.
I'm so sorry.
Ned.
Next time you'll see me in jeans.
See you later, people.
You're listening to the Dr. No Show on WHITradio.org.